I have something to say about myself deceased. I want to say that I don't know the threatening that I'm about to speak, but I do. I do know it as the Overlord, the soul of the superior founder deceased in view and disclosed by myself, the Overlord, is really true that cannot speak the threatening the way I do. And the threatening that I am speaking is here on camera and then posted on YouTube. And I'm not really able to go back on the leverage. It is disclosed leverage, but it is disclosed on camera and then posted on YouTube. And it is causing technical difficulties on the other cellular phone personal communication device with internet because it's sort of like when I enter in the information, it's sort of like takes it away, and then I have to replace position the curse, where it blinks and you enter in more letters. I have to do that again. And then it also sometimes goes to the beginning. It enters in the information at the beginning when it is in the middle of a sentence. Like it would be in the middle of a paragraph, in the middle of a sentence. It would go right to the top and it would be printing on the top. And I don't notice it because I'm looking at the what we call keyboard, right? So when I look at the letters of the keyboard, I cannot look at the same time as where the letters are appearing that I am entering in myself with a hand. Uh, if it was a keyboard for a computer, I would be looking at the screen and I would not be looking at my hands entering the letters in because I know how to type. So I have that problem with this personal communication device right here. And I'm using another one, but I don't want to change over because the internet is different. I like the internet on the other phone better than the internet on this phone that I'm using now, that you can see me with. Yes. So it's hopeless to say that I would be elsewheres in God. I know why there is that problem on that phone, and there's nothing I can do about it. I need a new phone, but I would do that to a new phone as well. And that is a relatively new phone. It's less than 1 year old. It's not really time to get a new phone for me. But I delete a lot of information. I delete a lot of videos. I delete photos. I delete a lot of texting and things that I've recorded on the internet. I delete that. Uh, it's true that I don't afford the money that it is. I don't afford that someone else got that for me and that I didn't get it for myself. And that there are people coming to see me about me not being a landlord and me still owing to pay rent at age 48 years old. And I am trying to do the when I am myself deceased, I have to decease myself in the threatening. And I'm trying to live out the threatening and decease myself in the threatening of myself being a landlord who collects rent. Okay? And I am not able to do that, even though I have paid rent between the years 1995 after graduation from high school all the way through the year 2025 now, when I am deceased out in the threatening of living in a cohabitation. Yeah, now I have to live alone. I must. That is an order already. But I don't have it as an order that I am a landlord collecting rent so that I can get food because I still eat every day. I must. I'm hungry and I am still holding my full adult height. I'm not full height, 5 feet 6 inches tall, but I am not a child anymore. I was a child. I grew from being the size of a 3-year old. How many inches and feet is that? I don't know. I went to the pediatrician, but I don't remember. It would be like 3 feet and something. I remember 4 feet and something, but it was less than that. 3 feet and some inches high, and now I am 5 feet and I think about 3 inches high. I don't know, my sleeves are a little bit too long now. They should be like maybe until here. But my arm, I don't know where my arm is in the length. Maybe it's not full length arm anymore. For the height, being 5 feet 4 inches tall, I don't know. I'm not able to measure my height right now. But I'm shrinking, losing my height because I am not a landlord charging rent and collecting rent and holding it for myself, for what I think it's worth to me. And that I could be, I don't have an office key, but whoever has the office key, they won't hold it for me so that I can have the rent money and hold it for me so I can hold my full height. At least as much as it is now. I don't think I could grow my height that way. I would not grow back to 5 feet 6 inches tall that way, but it would be like 5 feet 4 inches tall and hold it at 5 feet 4 inches tall, or hold it at 5 feet 3 inches tall. I think I can't lose another inch. I will lose the whole body and die because I cannot be a landlord and charge rent money. And I would die anyway in my own time on the threatening. But I'm not successful in being a landlord and collecting rent. And I paid 30 years of rent. And then I could say, because my parents were still alive for most of the time I was paying rent, for about 28 years of my time paying rent, uh, I my parents were alive and still collecting, that they were parents. They were born after myself, so they are holding money against myself. And I'm not in my own house, so the rent charges were high. They went up. They went so high that I'm due to be a landlord for my own leverage, and I can't get it ordered. It's not possible to be a landlord and collect rent, so I can hold my height. No one has interest in that I hold my height. But if I was a child, you would have interest in telling me, get in the car, and you put food in front of me I didn't need because I wasn't needing food. I was needing you out of my house. Yep. My house would give me food if I needed it. You don't know that about my house, because if there was nobody in my house and I needed food because there were people in the world doing things in the world, uh, I would get food from my house if I need it. But I don't really need it as a size of a child. Not really. I would say that's a solved problem, and I have a smaller mind than this. It doesn't really speak like this. Now I'm speaking over the food that has been implanted in my life by strangers. And I'm not really a food body. This body doesn't normally eat. I know I am myself eternal, and this body doesn't normally look like this, doesn't normally eat. I'm recording this for posterity, for the afterlife, and for myself alive as a Godhead. I am recording that I am not able to collect rent, and rent has been charged to myself viciously, including I have to pack and move if I just don't have any a possibility to be charged the rent. That means if you less than charge me rent money, I have to pack and move. I have that in my history. And I am right here, not able to charge rent. I'm also not able to get somebody to stop coming to my front door because they just came in here and they took out some clothing that Charles Toh was wearing when he was in the apartment. And he's not here now, but I don't know where he is. And I didn't ask anyone to clean up anything about Charles Toh's property being in here. I want to decease myself with the apartment as is. I don't need anything to be moved that I didn't move myself. And I didn't move anything myself except for food that was molding or rotting. I took out food that Charles Toh had for himself that he didn't throw out in advance of himself not returning to the apartment. I threw it out because it molded or rotted, not because it wasn't mine and I threw it out. I threw it out because it was no longer food. It was just to be disposed of. If it was in a store, the store would have thrown it out. So I threw it out that way as a custodian of the food itself. But whoever came in here and took Charles Toh's clothing, that was not for me to worry about that. That is for the superior founder of the property when he gives deceasement out of the formed world of myself. He will decease all of that property that belonged to Charles Toh. It was going to be right there, right here inside the door locking. It was here, but somebody came and removed it and put it in a rental car and drove off, or put it somewhere outside, and it's not here anymore. Uh, I can't say that I would have allowed that. That's not true that I would. I want it the way that it was, so that God will give me deceased. That I am just ready to be out of the door locking, but I'm not interested in saying this is my apartment. I want myself an illegal, alive, unclean death of myself, deceased, out of the door locking and out of the formed world. And I want God to do things for me when he does that, like that he would remove Charles Toh's belongings because they're not mine, because they don't fit me, because it's not mine, because it's used and it's not mine. I don't need somebody from the outside to come in here and do that. And I'm not sure why they did, because that's not really mentally sound. No, you didn't go to a doctor about that. Because you've sent me to many doctors and I pay high medical bills because you don't agree with what I say when I speak. I have an accent because you have done that. I don't have full American citizenship because you abducted myself with hospitals that are not really out of the city. There are hospitals in the city. They don't belong there. The hospital should be upstate in a prison, in a locked-in prison, where you go into the hospital, you don't have to worry about discharge. If you go into a hospital, you don't have to worry about the hospital saying, we are asking you about your checkout date, or we are going to discharge you involuntarily from a hospital, and you're homeless after that. If you need a hospital, you need it to be inside of a prison with a deceased address, and then you go from a hospital to other parts of the prison. Yeah, that's not true that you would be discharged from a hospital and be homeless. I don't agree with that, and that's what you did to me, and I don't agree with it. I'm saying that now, after 20 years later, after you hospitalized me because you didn't agree with me speaking to you, because I speak to the creation of myself. I'm doing that now on camera, but I do it in a live if I must. I do it in a live if you threaten me. If you threaten me and you don't like what I say to the creation of myself, you're not supposed to hospitalize myself only. That's you needing to be in a prison, and you are in the prejudice that you are either in the prison or you are in the hospital yourself for having done that. It's not true that you have immunity. I am hauling you off that you do not have immunity for hospitalizing myself 19 times over 20 years. You don't have immunity for that when I'm deceased. I'm still paying for it right now, that you have something of immunity, that you get away with doing that. And I don't know what it is. Your prejudice is ordering yourself. That has gone very far in the low, that you have prejudice on your Godhead, God form, that is ordering yourself. Because I am myself, and you don't just leave. You are like volunteers to help the needy. Yeah, I am Godhead. You are not supposed to volunteer to help the Godhead. The Godhead is going to kill everything that is not myself. You are supposed to fear that and be elsewhere. Instead, you have your prejudice of yourself, ordering yourself, and then you go shunning. That is God above me watching what you're doing with your prejudice, and then he is giving the shunning. That is all I can do is shun you, and you come back with your arrogance, and you don't know where you've been. You talk to me about myself, ask me where I am, and you don't know where you've been because you've been shunning. You are hysterically arrogant and hating me because I am myself, the Godhead. I can't possibly be arrogant. That's you. With your own head. You are in your head, and you are arrogant, and you are hating me for being, according to you, arrogant. That is your head doing that. That is your head is arrogance. I owe the camera that I opened a new bottle of water to drink out of it in front of the camera. But this one is half open and half used already. So I apologize to the camera and the viewers that I did not have a new bottle of water for you. It's cold for what it's worth, so it's ready that way that it's cold water. But I didn't pop open the cap for you. It was already open. My dog Rocky had dog food, and water in a bowl, both the food and the water in front of him at all times, for his whole life that I knew of the dog in my house. And it was a puppy in front of me at some point in the year about 1987 approximately, and the dog was in my housing until the year 2000. Yeah, it was there a long time. And the dog always had pet food on the floor and water on the floor in front of it, so it could eat and drink at any time. It didn't have to tell you it was wanting pet food, and it didn't have a feeding time either. So I have this problem now where nobody knows me like Rocky the dog, who was in a house with uh, somebody else. Well, Donna, my mom figure, she was the one who was taking care of the dog, taking it to the vet or taking it to get shots, taking it to get grooming, taking it in the car to see me when I got back from the camp bus. The dog was in the car to see me. Uh, I was young. I just wanted to mention that for Mitch and for my mom if she sees the video. I'm not talking with my mom right now. I can't. Mitch can get her on the phone, but I can't. She does not respond to my phone, but I'm sending her long length text messages and videos, and then I sort of stopped doing that. But she's not responding anyway. But she's alive somewhere in Arizona. I have the threatening that there is the possibility that Mitch would not be here to give me food anymore because Donna went out of contact communication with the cell phone, and then I don't have a way to get food offered to myself. I need to be a landlord that has money that can pay money for food, but I don't leave the apartment. I need someone who would come to the apartment, and I live in an apartment complex with people who are very close by, but I don't know them, and they are debts to somebody else, not to myself. I don't have that I have successfully charged rent money and that I can use it to save my own life to pay for food. Because I don't want to be murdered by that you don't like me and you don't know me and you don't trust me and you don't believe me and you don't know who I am as the top of the Godhead. I don't want to be murdered for that reason by your negligence. I still want to be able to be alive because this is my world to myself. Even though I didn't form the world, who formed the world is Jesus, you know that. But I didn't form the world myself. And it is an illegal, alive world that is formed against my need. It is an unclean death away from myself, apart from myself, below and beneath myself. But I am alive here at age 48, and I can hold alive if I can make all the conditions possible for me to be alive. And it is my world that way. I'm hearing superior founder above myself saying that superior founder is in the wrong deceased. Uh, Having to do with how he gives death out of the world. He's in the very far in the wrong deceased because he doesn't have anyone who is named Moser in jails and prisons. But that puts everybody in jails and prisons on the point of the last name. And that's not the same point for everybody, that they need to be in jails and prisons. But I need that everyone who was to be trying to be a home invasion into my house, that they were outside of the house, because I can't start over with who I am to be what you are around you, or what you are talking to me about around you. Who knows what you're going to say? That's not you being over me. That's you not knowing not to speak to me. And that is established. You're not to be named Moser because I was named Moser by an elementary school. Yes, I still have the last name Moser. Somebody here, because they rented the apartment with the last name Moser 13 years ago, they still know that that is my last name here, even though I am deceased out of the last name, including I have an accent because I don't hold myself in citizenship. For Social Security Administration, 389-887233. That was my Social Security number. I don't really hold the citizenship, so I can see if they don't give the money anymore in my name. I can understand why. But I still need the food, and I can get the food for free because I am aliving the food supply, but I don't clear the custodians of the food from, because why isn't it me at this point? I am the custodian of the food. I can't get to the store. They will not give me the food for free, and I don't pay the charges because I don't have the money, because I don't have citizenship, and I still need the food. You actually won't give it to me because I'm hungry. That's established a long time ago in so many ways. That is the only reason I eat as a full height, is because I'm hungry. I have a pot pie in the oven, and I just checked the time on the other cellular phone personal communication device, and I'm supposed to remove the pot pie at 9:20, and it's 9:06 p.m. I sent a text message to my mom figure to let her know that I was doing that, because Mitch brought me the pot pie, and I need to establish what it is in food money. And I'm talking to mom about that because she did most of the uh, food preparation for myself when I was growing up, when I was growing my height. And I can still communicate with her by phone, is really not helpful because I'm not living in my own house, but it is supposed to tell her that I'm still dependent on her for food. And then why is she not in a jail and a prison about the last name? Again, that is the superior founder saying that he is illegally alive, and I don't afford it. And I have been paying for that my whole life. I don't afford superior founder is illegally alive, is myself being formed female, so I don't afford it. Yeah, if I was male, that would not be alive at all. I don't afford it, and I'm not alive at all. I'm female means I'm illegally alive involuntarily. I didn't want to be here, and I can't get what I want and need, even though I'm here as involuntarily. I don't want to be here, and I still want to be able to die in such a way that I am whole to myself in the afterlife, which is most important because that is forever, that is eternal. I plan for that, but I don't know why you people want to ask me questions about my human values and so on. I don't actually have any because I am Godhead. You want me to tell you I am Godhead? I can tell you I am Godhead, but I don't always hold alive that way that I'm aware of it. I know who I am to myself. I love myself. I am myself. And I know that what makes me angry, but you approximately make me angry deliberately. And I record it, but I don't want to be there. I want to be elsewhere because it's America. I can be anywhere, and I can't get away from your announcements problem. You announce yourselves. That is totally illegal. If you were in a prison and you did that, you would have enemies, like plural. It wouldn't be just a listener. It wouldn't be just one person who heard you announce yourself. If you announce yourself in a prison, that would be known throughout the prison, and you would have enemies unpredictable. You would not do that in a prison. You do that in America's freedoms is not do. It's not DUE, do. Announce yourself, like announce what your name is, announce where you're from, announce your birthday, you announce where you live, but not why. Yeah, you announce what you want, you announce what you're going to do with yourself, you announce a question. Yep. Do you don't know something? You announce you don't know something. Yes, you announce the question. I know that in Espanol, they have two words for question. In English, there is question. In Espanol, there's pregunta. And then there is cuestión. Yeah. Cuestión. This sounds like Spanglish, maybe. But cuestión means like you don't understand the concept. Pregunta. And then additionally, when you are writing in Spanish, you can write a question mark upside down, and that's at the beginning of a sentence. And then the question mark that is regular, like you would see it in English, is at the end. But it would be like for the question, it would mark the beginning of the question. That could be mid-sentence, not exactly at the beginning of the sentence. It could be like upside down question mark, what do you think? And then a question mark after that. And what that really means is it goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth between the upside down question mark and then the question mark. And then there is no real firm answer. That is marking that there is a question and it is itself. So in English, we just say, do you make a question, right? You have a question. And then in Espanol, they would say something like pregunta, like you have the question. Tengo una pregunta. I speak Spanish because I've been deported, because there's a home invasion in my house by people who are not Black and they just leave. They are white people, they are home invasion into my house and they don't have karma to be there or to be a home invasion. That way, it's not in itself karma. And that is because their own prejudice did not remove them. I'm not sure about that. I think their prejudice did remove them, because I'm not there anymore means I don't have prejudice with their prejudice anymore. That means they did something against their own prejudice, and I don't afford it. I need myself deceased out of the possibility of being formed ever again. Well, I am about done, because I need to get the pot pie out of the oven. Okay.